this is no hearsay that I'm saying. Um, and I'm not gonna say the only reason why I'm not going to say who the uh who the rock star is because I can't remember exactly which band it is. But it was either from Blink
Yeah.
182
No, it was from Limp Bizkit.
or Limp Bizkit. That's the one it was.
Yeah,
Yep, it
yeah.
was him right there.
He was the only one that she said treated her like a whore.
Like he didn't even treat her like a whore. He's like, okay, we done. Bye.
Pretty done. Yeah, yeah. That was the dude, the lead singer of the Limp Bizkit. It's Heaven Hollywood joins us. What's up, man? Um, yeah. So groupie itself, like I
So
said, you,
sometimes the groupieism can backfire.
well, it can, but I mean, like I said, in this case, where the stories that you'll hear and see eventually from the groupie series, our series, you will see cases where the so-called groupie is the one who's actually the celebrity. So it's very, 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 very interesting topics, well written stuff. If I could pat myself on the back, pat my brother on the back. But it's real. So that's where people are going to when you're watching it, you're gonna be like, wow, this this is real. It's based on something that really happened. So very cool, very cool. So but like I was saying, I did get to a couple people jumped in and said, hey, I like the trailer. That was cool. We did share the screen when the trailer premiered over on the IE network. And I'm sure some people were over there checking it out as well. So, like I said, Groupie is it's a new series, and people are gonna really, really dig it. It's character driven. A lot of the characters, you're going to fall in love with. Maybe all of them, maybe one or two of them, and on every show that has a certain amount of characters, you got people that are favorite characters, right? So it's a very character driven show. So can't wait to get the cast on here and talk a little more about the show and the episodes. But we'll do that closer to our release date or things like that. All right, so cool. But we were talking about I'm glad my mom died and how the book is flying off the shelves and yeah, people like I said, and I wanted to take that time to not only talk about Ms. McCurdy, but talk about all of the sexualization and as well as alleged sexual abuse. Not all of them, we can't say were sexually abused. The ones that say they were, that's them saying it, and that's I'm not gonna take that away from them. But there's been a lot of also alleged sexual abuse. We know that over there at Nickelodeon, and Heaven Hollywood. Your daughter is a big fan of the show. Victorious, and she likes watching Nickelodeon shows, and they were great shows for everyone, right? And but it's in hindsight when you go back and notice the sexual innuendos that's goes on in these shows, and it almost kind of makes you want to not watch them because you're just like, yeah, it sucks.
Right.
After you've already watched it, yeah, you've already watched it a million times because your daughter watches it. But now you go back, and then you got this young lady who drops her book, and she's in the book talking about certain things that she touches on. She doesn't name people like that, but she does touch on situations that we already knew. We all know that Dan Schneider over there at Nickelodeon, resigned or whatever it was. They mutually parted ways, whatever with Nickelodeon.
Hmm.
But there's been a lot of alleged, things surrounding him, and so it just brought me all of that kind of moved me to talk about period to talk about sexualized uh how these young artists, these young actors, performers are sexualized by the industry, period. Whether it's Nickelodeon, whether it's Disney, whether it's Warner Brothers, Paramount, any of these big studios. And I
Mm.
did bring up earlier that McCurdy's whole relationship with her mother, and how the mother is basically kind of living vicariously through her. And it kind of struck a chord and made me start thinking about Shirley Temple, right?
Mm.
How Shirley Temple's mother basically just sold her out to the industry. And it's
Right.
just really, you know, yes, this is what did they say? This needs to stop. Someone said this needs to stop, thus being going on longer than Hollywood. Yeah, it is. It's been going on too long. Plenty of time. It's been going on. Like we said, we go all the way back to Shirley Temple. Shirley Temple was like 4 years old when they started putting her on camera, on screen. And her first film was a film called Baby Burlesque.
Mm-hmm.
And they hide behind, oh, it's supposed to be the art and it's supposed to be cute. It's like these kids imitating adults. But it's like, no, ain't nothing cute about it. I don't even know how did that even fly? But back then it was a different time. People were not as vocal as, even if they felt appalled by it, they wouldn't say it. People, that was back in the times where women were taught to be quiet, don't talk, stuff like that. Because you're talking about the 1930s, you know.
No, that's
So
Mm-hmm.
listen. That's when Greasy Uncle Charles
yeah,
used to come to the barbecue.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you had all the way back then. So there was a lot of a different culture, if you will. But this was just like, I really look back at some of that stuff. And if put it like this, anyone just Google the words or the term Shirley Temple sexualization or something like that, and you will get a slew of pictures. You will get a slew of pictures that really, every single picture Shirley Temple has ever really taken. There's a grown ass man in it with her.
Mm-hmm.
Every single picture. There's a grown ass man holding her, hugging her, lifting her up, holding her by her bottom, this hugging her, kissing her. It's just like, this was like a 4 or 5 year old girl, a baby. And
Didn't in one of those movies they like pass her around?
well, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Oh no,
and
not this one, not that one, not
not
that one.
that
But
one.
there is one called I forgot what the one where she was getting passed around like from
For the
adult
good ship
lap to
lollipop,
adult
when
lap.
she performed the
Yeah,
good
that
ship
one.
lollipop, the
Yeah,
good ship lollipop,
that's her
all that
most
stuff.
famous. That's her most
Yeah,
famous role.
yeah, they were literally passing her around from guy to guy, and they're all dancing with her and up close on her, kissing her, hugging her, grabbing her, and I'm just like, this is
I
just
have a
like
great Shirley
despicable.
Temple story actually. By the way, I like have a
Yeah.
story for everybody. I even have a Shirley Temple story
Yes, we
because
do.
ironically, my grandfather, God bless the dead, the
Right.
late Bingham
Uh-huh.
Patton, right?
Yep. My
He
namesake.
and Kev, this is probably the first
My
time
middle
you heard
name.
this story.
Yeah, second.
Um, second, oh, so you did hear it. He used
Yeah.
to.
I
So
told I told him
for
off
people out
air.
here, that have not heard that story. So my grandfather, Bingham Patton, used to chauffeur Shirley Temple.
Hmm.
So he would have to, if once the producers or whoever, when he would have to take her to certain producer's house, he would be the one who chauffeured Shirley Temple.
Hmm.
So there was one time where she was in the car and he said that she just wasn't talking, but he said she was always a talker. Like she would talk to him when he was driving, and she said, but this time she just wasn't talking. And she told him, did she have to go? to where he was taking it. Now he said he just got the address. She would drop him off, and then some producer or manager or agent, whatever, would come out to the car and get her and take her in. So every single
Crazy.
time he said it seemed like it was a different producer.
Hmm.
So this time she was like, I just don't want to go. Why don't you? Can you tell them? Why don't we tell them that you took me and me and you go get some ice cream, Mister Bing, on my treat? And my grandfather was like, "Oh hell no," you know. He
That's
was
called
like,
shit. That's the last thing they need to see.
"Right."
Uh-huh.
He said,
Nope.
"Nah." He was like, "I'm
Do
taking
that.
you to where they asked me, Miss Shirley. I have to take you there. They told me to take him there. Take you
Yeah.
there. You get me in a lot of trouble."
Hmm.
And he said she was very sad. She was just, I'm tired of doing this. I don't want to go anymore.
Hmm.
So God only knows what they were doing to that little girl.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it is. It's heartbreaking, and you know, we add that our grandfather obviously you got a job to do, and in the times of those times, like we said, you're talking the 1930s and 40s, and in those times, man, yeah, he was lucky to have the job. If he was going to do
Shit.
something off cuff like that, man, that type of shit would get you lynched. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
not lynched.
Exactly.
He could just disappear because
Yeah.
they're not trying to have him have that kind of information on the addresses. He
Hmm.
knows where this little girl is being dropped off to,
Yep.
and
Hmm.
she's telling him, "I don't want to go here."
Yep.
What we as black people know how to add
Yeah.
Right.
astronomically from nothing.
Hmm.
You
Exactly.
you you you
Exactly.
you could whisper half a word in the air, and we could put it together and be like, oh, okay, we see what you're
Yeah.
saying. All right,
Right. And
we
we
get what you're
also
talking
know
about.
when to say, yeah, that's not
When
gonna
to
work
drink
for
our
me.
water and mind our business.
Business, yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Basically,
Unfortunately, I mean,
unfortunately, in that situation, but it was really, to be honest with you, there's really nothing he could do anyway. So it's nothing that he could do at the moment
except for
to
take her
change
back to where he picked her up from.
it. And then that would have just
Mhm.
got him in trouble. So
Well,
the bottom
Yeah.
line is,
yeah,
yeah, the bottom line is, you know, this would that kind of reminded me of that when you think about what Jeanette McCurdy has talked about with her. That's a bold title right out the gate. You're like, wow, what
I'm
is this
glad
book
my
about?
mom
I'm
died.
glad my mom died, and that is unfortunate,
She took a
as
lot of
well
heat for
as
that title too, and they
yeah, I'm
tried to
sure
make
she
her
did.
change the title. She wouldn't change the title. She was like,
Hmm.
"This is the title
how
that I'm
you?
keeping."
But here's the thing: how, as a book company, do you think you're going to get an author to change the title of
Hmm.
something that they vehemently feel is
Right.
correct?
Hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
This
mean,
is what
they
I
do it.
feel.
They do it. They do
Right.
do that. But
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I mean, she fought for it. If she wasn't going to be persistent about it, they would have
Yeah.
changed it.
Because a couple
You
of
know,
publishing companies turned her down because of the
turned her
title,
down.
and I'm
Yeah,
sure because of what was in the book.
That
yeah,
was the only reason. Let's be clear. It wasn't
yeah.
because of the title. It was because
Mhm.
of what was in the book and what was
Hmm.
potentially in the book. Because
Right.
okay, you hate your mother. We know why you hate your mother. Okay,
Mhm.
Hmm.
so
Yeah,
yeah. Uh, can we change that title? No. All
yeah.
right, pass.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
Right. Right.
So I mean, I'd be like, yeah. So I'll change it to the industry sexually sexualized me. No, no, no. Change it back to I hate my mother or whatever. I change it back to glad my mother died. But
Mm.
I mean,
That was a good question. That life what Kenya asked. She said, "I wonder what her coming out just going to make more child stars want to tell their story as well." I mean, one way that it
very
might
interesting.
is because she's like really getting good. She's not getting like the let's just toss it under the rug, or she don't know what she's
No,
talking
no,
about.
she's getting
She'll
She's
get,
not
attention.
getting the
she's
Corey
getting a
Feldman
lot. She's
treatment.
getting a lot of
Yeah,
attention because you're looking at someone that was successful in doing it.
yeah,
In
And
that short period of time, she had 2 shows,
yeah,
and
mm,
she's saying, "I don't want to be involved." So if you're sitting there like, man, she had 2 shows, she was really at the top. She hadn't even begun to peak. She got a peak.
yeah,
And you would think that someone like that would be like, and then what makes them think, what another thing that makes them look at what she's saying and make them go, wow, is because she had hit rock bottom where
right,
she could use a check and she
yeah,
still didn't do it. So if you figure, man, she hit rock bottom where she was homeless and she still refused to go back to do like the reboot of iCarly. She turned down. She
yeah,
turned down any reunions. She turned down the reunion.
yeah.
So
So she's
you're
real
looking at her
about
like,
it. She
man,
ain't trying to.
yeah,
She ain't just trying to cap. You know what I mean? She's like really adamant about this
and,
industry messed her up, and she's not trying to go back to it like that.
and here's the thing: she's not going to get the Corey Feldman treatment because she's a female.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah. So
That's true. That's a good point.
that's a great point. She's not gonna because she's a female. Now there's other to add to the answer to a life with Kenya. There's other people that did speak out, but it didn't catch for whatever reason, didn't catch the traction that this, and they were also big stars. Natalie Portman speaks about her career at only 12 years old, but she
Mhm.
became a household name. We know that with the Star Wars trilogy, blah blah blah. But before that, she was in The Professional, and she says, "I've actually talked about it. I wrote a thing about it for Women's March, whatever." She says about being sexualized as a child.
Hmm.
And I think I take away from that, from my own sexuality because, it made her afraid. So, like, with that being said, you can see here from The Professional, look at these pictures of Natalie Portman. This is a scene from The Professional where she's putting on all this makeup. She's performing for this dude here, Leon, the guy who played Leon the Professional. Where if you didn't see the movie, I mean, it's a great movie, but these are the parts. There are parts in this movie that's it's very uncomfortable, kind of, because she's this girl, little girl with the grown dude. He's a assassin or whatever. And like I said, there's scenes in there where he's showing her things, and they get this weird, I don't want to say weird, but maybe weird type of relationship, that they kind of develop. So, these are all scenes from her. This is her,
But
dressing up.
it makes you
Yeah.
wonder, like
Me.
looking at these scenes now, like it
Hmm.
makes you wonder, was he a creep on set? Or because he doesn't come across as being a creep.
I mean, we don't know if he was a creep on set, but he didn't have to be a creep on set because the whole relationship between their characters was kind of creepy. You know what I mean?
But see, here's the thing. What was there? See, I said all that to say is like she said she wrote a whatever op-ed or whatever it was that she wrote.
Hmm.
Did was it something where the director said, okay, I need for you I need you to be in frame like this,
I
and
don't know.
did he step up and be like, I don't think she's comfortable with that.
Well, I mean, I probably no, because um, especially in those times, he's I don't want to say just an actor, but he's just an actor. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't speak up much for stuff like that. Use the union would, but
I mean, I mean,
that would be
I
something
guess,
like contacting their union rep. Like it's not ideal for it's not ideal for the actor to step up and say, "Oh
but
no, she may not be comfortable with that."
I guess what my point is, and maybe y'all can expound on this. My point is, at any point, and whether it's him or any other, you know,
Right.
at what point does it click to where, okay, this is not just a regular acting job, something funky is going on here,
Yeah.
like like
Well,
like
I mean,
like
yeah, we don't know. That's the whole point. That's what most of these people. It happens when they were children. Here's something interesting. Megan Fox talks about. She said at a Jimmy Kimmel interview, Megan Fox opened up about how she was sexually harassed and over sexualized as young as 15 years old. There were shooting. They were shooting the club scene, and they brought men in, and I was wearing Stars and Stripes bikini and a red cowboy hat and 6-inch heels. She says Michael Bay approved it. He said Michael Bay approved it, and they said, Michael, she's 15, so you can't sit her at the bar, and she can't have a drink in her hand. So his solution to that problem was to have me dancing underneath a waterfall, getting soaking wet. She said, I
fucking
emphasized,
creep.
she said she emphasized she was 15 at the time. She was in 10th grade. She said, I was in 10th grade. I was 15. That's the kind of, things that how Bay's
And
mind
now it makes
works.
you makes you makes you wonder why she wasn't back for any more Transformers movies.
Well, you remember how she had to allegedly how she her audition for Transformers, she didn't actually audition. She had to wash a car. She washed a
What?
car. Yeah, he filmed her washing. It's not funny, but I'm saying he filmed her washing a car. That was her audition for Transformers. And
And how
yeah,
old was Shia LaBeouf?
I don't know how old he was at the time, but
he's got a lot of allegations on him in Hollywood
he's got
already.
a lot of different. He's got a lot of different ideas. Then you got here's another one, Brooke Shields. We talked about that. We all know that. Ever since the
She
beginning
played
of
in
her career,
Viva
right,
Las Vegas. She played in a
right,
hooker.
played a hooker.
Wanda,
Yep,
Nevada. The name was the movie.
yep.
Wanda, Nevada. She played a hooker. The
Brooke,
hooker. She was 12 years old.
Brooke Shields
What?
has unfortunately been
Yeah.
sexualized. Yeah, exactly. In Lewis Malley's Pretty Baby at age 13 and The Blue Lagoon at age 14. And yeah, so I mean, there was a lot of
Yeah, Pretty
stuff going
Baby.
on with
Pretty
that.
Baby was the
Pretty
one she
Baby,
was the hooker.
yeah, when she was the hooker. Pretty Baby.
You know what?
Um,
I might as well just grab every box that every box of DVDs that I have, just throw them in the trash.
yeah.
Like,
And just like we always talk about this person, who I always said too, she reminded me of young Natalie Portman, and that's Millie Bobby Brown. Millie Bobby Brown talked about, her thing was more or less like how people go ahead and sexualize. She turned 16 years old. She opened up about being sexualized since she's been in the spotlight on Instagram. This is now more being sexualized on the internet. Obviously, that's her era, right? That's her generation.
now, but now,
Yeah.
now, here's the thing about that. At what point does it become your choice, and is it the studio
Mhm.
that's
No, no,
making
no.
you
What
do it?
well, what she's saying is, she said there's moments where I get frustrated from inaccuracy, inappropriate comments, sexualization, and unnecessary insults that ultimately have resulted in pain and insecurity for me. So yeah. Now remember, I forget the gentleman's name, but I did see this person online who did a whole video on how the industry, meaning when he says the industry, it's not really the studios, it's more so, agents, management, stylists, the things that she's put in when she's set to do interviews and stuff like that, the makeup that she's put, that's not necessarily her choice either. You know what I'm saying? This is what they set her up, the looks and stuff that she do, and then the photography and the photographers. It was a whole big thing that he did on it. He's like, they are sexualizing this girl. already. Like, they're like and I look at it as, yeah, it's young Natalie Portman to me. That's how they kind of,
Mm.
and I mean the list goes on and on. But there's a few people. Jennifer Love Hewitt, another one who talked about that. It's just something that they've always done. You know, think about it. What do you think about Kim Fields? Like Tootie. With the short shorts. She used to be on the roller skates, right? In the Facts of Life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean. You can go back and say, but it's just like some of them are more blatant than others. And then when we talked about getting back to McCurdy and getting back to Nickelodeon, there are a lot of sexual innuendos that the
That
Nickelodeon,
people really,
yeah,
that
slipped under their noses.
kids that look at it now and they're like, holy shit,
Yeah.
like kids that are now of age,
Now they're grown up
yeah,
now. They're
they're
like,
looking
what
at it and
the?
they were like, I can remember laughing at this, like I thought it was funny, and
Hmm.
then saying it to my mom. I'm gonna have you play that clip. I'll have
Hmm.
you find that clip on YouTube, and
Hmm.
she's like, and now that I listen to it, I'm like cringing, like, how did I not, pick that up? If you were, hey, you,
Yeah.
Listen,
yeah,
I've been secretly in my mind saying for decades. Now you know I come we you know we all three of us come from a music background, and we come from classic music background. The Sam Cooks,
Yeah.
the Little Richards, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, even though Little Richard was gay,
Hmm.
even though Sam Cooke was the man, and yes,
Hmm.
for that time period, a lot of the music that they made for, it was for the teens, but it's still like the one song by Sam Cooke that like it echoes in my head over and over again. She was only 16, only 16.
mm-hmm,
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just like she was too young to fall in love, and I was too young to know. Nigga, you knew what you talking about?
she was only 17. Or that song you like?
Yeah,
What's
it's
that
like,
song? West,
What?
the video,
Oh
the
God,
dude.
yeah. She just 16 years old. Yeah, that's
yep, that's
leave
another
her
one.
alone. They
That's another
say
one.
they said it.
Technically,
He basically
like,
saying they said leave her alone. And he's still going on with it. That's called Into the Night. That's already a creepy name.
yo,
I'll take
listen,
you into the
they're
night
taking,
and
and now check
scoop
this
you
out.
up.
When we was kids, yo, that was yo. A lot of us made out to chicks with that song,
Yeah,
Yeah.
not
you get it.
realizing
Yo, I tell you
these
And,
something
and,
niggas
even
and
are.
creepier. I'll give you a creepier story about that song. Shout out to my cousin Anthony Davis. We used to work at Domino's Pizza, one of my first jobs ever. And there was a we had there was two. We hired Anthony was my cousin was the manager, and he hired two females, or one female who was it might have been two sisters, and they used to answer the phones. But anyway, one of the guys that worked there, he was, I guess we were at that age, we were like, I don't know, we were in our teens, but he was a little older than us. And anyway, long story short, he got involved with one of the girl's sisters who was 16 years old, and he was older. And he used to literally sit in the car and listen to that song and be crying and stuff like that. We like, yo, what is wrong with you?
Yo,
He's just He's just 16 years old. Because literally,
like,
the I think their parents, got involved and kept him away, you know. But
this whole conversation is jacking me up. Like everything is ruined now. I can't make love to no chick, to no slow jam music, because
Mhm.
it's during the downstroke. She was only 16. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's done. You're over. It's done. So yeah,
there, man, that Hollywood thing, and that since I got into blogging and media and stuff like that, like you start going back and researching a lot of that stuff and finding out crazy stuff, man. Like
It's sad.
yeah, of people who you're like, man, I admired them.
Yeah.
People start bringing up uh what's her name used to go to her mother used to take her to Studio 54 when she was like 11. Drew Barrymore.
Oh,
How they said that she was
Yeah.
how she used to how they said I was reading this right here. They said, didn't Drew Barrymore say she had sex with Jack Nicholson as a teen? And
Wow.
then when you start thinking back, like, yo, he used to bring her to the Laker game. Like, cause I'm a
Yeah.
Laker fan, and now I start thinking back, like,
Used to
yo,
bring Drew Barrymore to the Laker
we just
game.
think, oh, okay, it's just, hey, it's Jack Nicholson,
oh
Drew
my
Barrymore,
God.
and
Just
then
throw
it's
the
like
whole Hollywood out.
he used to
Yeah.
bring her to the Laker game, and then now that
Hmm.
you read out that Drew Barrymore said her mother pretty much sold her out. Um, she said her mother used to bring her to Studio 54.
Mm.
There's literally pictures of her in Studio 54 at like 12.
You
Do you
gotta be
listen?
joking me,
For
man.
those of you who do not understand, let me paint the picture for you. Studio 54 had several names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it did.
And there
Yeah.
was a lot of stuff that went on in those stands that overlooked the
Hmm.
dance floor.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Studio 54 for all you youngins. Hell, I was a young when it was popping. But
Listen,
Here's Drew
man,
Barrymore. Here's some. I googled Drew Barrymore Studio 54. Yeah.
one of the
And
names of the Chris of Studio 54, it
look
used
at
to
the
be
man.
called the
Look.
Crisco Disco.
Crisco
So
look,
Disco.
you're
there's
bringing
her,
an
look, Billy
11
Idol.
year old.
Yeah.
Her
Look
and
at
Billy
Billy Idol.
Idol.
All of you, you know what he was doing.
Oh man,
I can't. The white wedding is out the window. I can't even listen to that anymore. God damn.
that
How
that
many times
itself
I
had
know,
a
and then you, like I said, it makes you start thinking back. And I'm sorry,
look.
how
Look
because
how
I
they
know
got
I
her
did it,
dressed. She
but
dressed in a one piece. Should be a shirt type of skirt thing that she got on. A shirt
I'm
that's made into a dress.
and
Yeah.
and I know I know I said it. Now I look at it cringe. Like, why didn't I? How did I say that? How many times did I proudly scream backstage
Yeah.
underage adolescents? I
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Used to say it all the time, and you're just like, oh my god. But yeah, here's a Studio 54.
oh
Yeah,
man.
Drew Barrymore. She even has a title. Drew Barrymore, The Day I Divorced My Mother. You
Yep,
see what
she's
I'm
another
saying?
one.
These
She's
these
another one. Her
student
mother,
these
she's the
parents,
one I
man.
think the mother sold her to the industry for $500. I think that was Drew Barrymore.
Wow.
Sold her to the industry for rent, $500.
Mm, look at this. These are all young Drew Barrymore pictures. It's sickening.
And then, like I
It's
said,
sickening.
it starts taking you back when you start going down that rabbit hole.
Look,
Of all of
this
these,
is like Shirley Temple all over again.
yep,
Look, you got
of
it.
all of
She,
these sites that and pictures, a lot of them have been scrubbed from the internet. You start talking about you start getting into the Heather O'Rourke story that nobody wants to talk about.
mm-hmm,
Um, how she just
mm-hmm.
magically caught some sort of rectum disease that she ended up dying from.
Yeah, okay.
Um, yeah, she at
A
what, 12?
random disease. Yeah.
At 12 years
Yep.
old. So she caught some sort of infection in her rectum. I wonder
Right.
how she got that.
Wonder how that got there, how that happened mysteriously and miraculously. Yeah, it's just it's crazy, dude. It's crazy. And these people have these kids been sexualized from young age, like we said, as it goes as far as young as 4 years old with Shirley Temple. Like we said, the first, baby burlesque. being the first film that she's ever did, and it just, you know, it added from there. It's
But
just so
we'll get back to Jeanette.
unfortunate.
It's just so deep. It just
Yeah.
so deep into. But
It goes so deep. That's the only reason why it sparks all these other, things. Look at this picture here. And this was a picture from her official thing. You got pictures like that just kind of pop up. Every picture Shirley Temple was with, she's with a grown ass man. Have not look, they got her
look, got
dancing,
her doing
little
burlesque
girl.
dancing in little undies. Like, come on,
Oh
man.
my god, you got to be kidding me! And that's supposed to be cute. That's supposed to be, oh, she's, it's cute, it's cute. Like what? What
Kev,
made you think it
I'll
was
give you
cute?
another nugget, Kevin. So,
Yeah.
um, like you said, Jeanette McCurdy on Nickelodeon. She was
Yeah.
on iCarly, and she was on Sam and Cat. So
Hmm.
now the show Victorious, that was the show that Ariana Grande was on first, and she spun off to Sam and Cat. So Liz Gillies, who's actually on Dynasty now. She plays on
Hmm.
Dynasty. Well, Liz Gillies played in Victorious when she was a teen. So she recently got married about 3 years ago. She married, who knows she married? One of the producers from Victorious. So when she was on Victorious, she was like 15, 16. He was like 27. And she married him now when she's 27. He's like close to 50. So that means he was scouting that out way back then.
Yeah, you know that he was grooming her. He was grooming her. That's called grooming. Let's see some comments in here.
That's Nickelodeon, man.
Um, she said, "I'm noticing a theme of moms selling their kids to the industry. Does this happen with boys as well?" I'm sure it does. I mean,
Probably.
we mentioned about Corey Feldman,
Hmm.
who, a lot of his abuse, alleged abuse, or whatever, got kind of his stories got swept under the rug because he is a boy, because he is a male. So him being sexually abused and stuff like that, it happens to the males as well. Does the parents have to know something about it if they're in there? This someone said Drew Barrymore's family, Hollywood royalty. Yeah, her father goes back 100 years in Hollywood. Yeah, yep, this is true. During the first silent
Family
films,
cursed with
her
drugs and
family is,
alcohol.
yep, yep. This is true. This is all good information. This is all true
Listen,
about Drew.
listen.
Yeah.
Corey Feldman, his whole thing got blocked when him and the same thing with
Hmm.
Carly McLaughlin
Macaulay
when
Culkin.
Yeah.
both of them came out and said Michael Jackson never touched me.
Yep,
When
Right.
they said
Basically,
that,
that
when
was
they
it.
said that,
Hollywood didn't want to mess with them no more. Now
it
all of a
didn't have
sudden,
nothing to do with
they
them.
they want to
Hmm.
start dropping their
Yep,
credibility,
they
because
came
if
out, and
anyone
now
had
they're
an
crazy.
opportunity,
And out.
yeah,
Yeah, now they're crazy, and they
if
don't know what they're
anyone had
talking
Yeah,
an
about.
opportunity to quote unquote out Michael Jackson, it was Corey Feldman and Macaulay Culkin. They had opportunities if it really happened,
Right.
and they didn't tell it. Corey Feldman, if anything, he could have just lied if he wanted to get money and get some fame back, but he chose not to. Why? Because it didn't happen.
Emmanuel
So
yeah,
that's
Lewis.
why
and
Emmanuel
on top
Lewis
of
said it
all of
never
that,
happened. He's
Manuel
around him all
Lewis.
the time. Emmanuel,
Emmanuel
never
Lewis,
happened.
another one.
Yep.
It
Yeah,
never happened. And
right.
then you got the icing on the cake, the FBI.
Hmm.
Yeah, the FBI. Yeah, FBI, man.
Told you.
10 years. Let me tell you something. We won't get on Michael, but we'll probably have a show about him later in the year in the month, because his birthday is this
Birthday's
month.
coming up. Yep.
Yeah, at the end of
Hmm.
this month. 10-year investigation.
10.
10 years they investigated Michael
They
Jackson.
found
The
10 years.
FBI
Found nothing.
found nothing. Zilch. Zero. So I'm gonna save that for our Michael when we do talk about Michael Jackson,
Yeah,
because I
because
do
I'm gonna
want to.
get hot talking about
Yeah,
Listen,
because
my phone is burning up already talking
yeah,
about Michael Jackson,
right,
and
yeah,
we only scratched the surface because
yeah,
I
yeah.
anyway.
So with McCurdy, so now I found that clip. I think that you're talking about Dan Schneider victorious end audio clips.
right. So let me
So
just let
set that up.
yeah,
Set
yeah.
up what we're
So let
about
me
to
let
listen
people
to.
know what this is. So you know, can you do you have like an example of from another show? You know, you gave me one the other day. You said, oh,
Yeah.
just like at the
So
end of
yeah, like at the end of a lot of shows, they show the they'll show like
like
maybe
the
the brand, the
logo.
logo,
Yeah.
and you might have a sound bite. Like for instance, the Wayans brothers. At the end of the Wayans brothers credits, they would show that picture of them when they were kids, and you hear Sean say, "Look up Marlon Cheese," like that, like a
Right.
little sound bite that always happened at the end, like at the end of all the credits.
Right. So this is Dan Schneider at the end, you know, Schneider Bakery. He's the one who created all of those Nickelodeon shows.
Yeah,
Victorious, iCarly, all the big show game
yeah.
shakers he created. Zoe. Um, so at the end of his show, it shows like the Schneider Bakery, and then he'll take a clip from that show that you just watched and put it
A
at the end
sound
of the
bite.
show, right? A
Yeah.
sound bite. Now, so many people, but when I showed this clip, you know, they were like, "I remember that." But just take a
Mhm.
listen to the clips that he chose at that comes on the end of the show. So Wes will
All
let you
right.
hear it.
Yeah, let me share the screen. Go here. Dan Schneider, audio. Okay. So here's some of the stuff from that clip.
Stories.
Yes! 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 Is it my turn to squat?
You do it way more gentle than my mom does it.
No, I don't want to see that thing again. Put it away. Can I hold it?
Can I hold it?
Yeah, I'll smell your foot.
Looks like we have a long night of snuggling ahead of us.
I'm a bad boy, aren't I?
That is so not tight. I don't want to get blackballed.
Wow.
But it hurts.
Here comes that feeling.
Wow.
Sometimes I do it to myself.
I heard you swallow.
I heard you swallow.
Ooh, it's all tingly.
Y'all can stare at me, but it's still bad.
That is a quality foot.
Okay, perfect.
More power. Beg me.
Beg me.
You're holding your banana backwards.
Wow.
Holding the banana back. Wow.
I gotta find my muffin.
You got to find my
What are
muffin?
you into?
You into?
It's average.
Mm-mm.
Lick my loafers, Debbie.
I've always wanted to see.
And mind you, now that is just like you explained earlier. This is a collaboration, a collage of the ending of the show soundbites. Now, mind you, the sound bites are taken from moments of the show where
Right.
it didn't feel that way. It was more presented in the show on an innocent level, but
Right.
he's taking certain clips of that particular certain little nuggets of that particular clip from the show, and put in, why is he specifically picking these parts of the thing? You know what I mean?
Right.
So just like the one with the foot, yeah, I smell your foot. The way it was played out on the show was funny. The way he did it. It was
Right.
a whole nother
Right.
situation.
It's all the
Had nothing to do
situation.
with sexual, but he zones in on those little nuggets, and decides to use that sound bite at
Because
the end of the show.
because he knows that's going to be the last thing you hear
Yeah.
when you watch it. They'll make sure, they always say the lasting impression. So he's going to make
Yep.
sure that when a kid's mind, kids think of things subconsciously. So
Yeah.
he knows that he's going to play that, and that's going to be the last thing. And then so many
Mm.
people are like, "Yo, I used to say some of these to my
It
mom,
hurt you.
like, because I thought it was funny."
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
But here's
That's
the thing: you're setting this up for. Let's just say you're right. He's setting that's a setup for subliminal messaging.
Yeah.
So, but subliminal messaging to who? Is it for the kid to play to the pervert, or is
Possibly.
it? I don't
It
like
almost
I'm
yo, Kev,
because
to be honest, it almost seems like he's just like when someone just said in plain sight.
it's
It
like he's
almost seems like
taunting,
he's taunting.
taunting.
He's like saying to you, you know what I mean? He's almost exposing himself.
Like a lot of the Hollywood stars do. They know people are asking, why are they taking pictures with the eye cover? Why are they taking pictures with the devil horns? Why are they taking pictures doing this? Why are they taking pictures doing that? They know people are asking about it, but yet
Oh,
and
Yeah.
I
still
like. Oh,
they
wait.
keep doing it.
I like something you said. I like something you said on your show that stopped me dead in my tracks at work about Doja Cat.
Mhm.
I, 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 I oh, yeah, yeah, that floats around those same lines, and I
Yeah.
agree with you. That's all I'm gonna
Yeah.
say on that.
I mean,
It,
right.
it,
So someone here says, "Wow, I can't believe I missed all of this." Well, that's what I'm saying.
That's
It's
what they're doing.
very easy to
Right.
miss. Very
It's
easy to
don't
miss.
don't
Someone's
feel
here.
bad.
I
A
used to
whole
don't
lot
feel
of
bad.
people
Yeah,
missed it.
a lot of people missed it. Yes, I used to watch Nickelodeon all the time when I was younger. See, and I never noticed that. And
but
again, it's typical kids that are watching, so they probably wouldn't have. Yeah, most of the time the kids
Right.
are, but they do that all the time. I mean, there's a lot of times, Disney was accused of doing little things that was, hidden to kids, but adults
Right.
can can
But
can
adults can
can
see it,
figure it out.
like in the Lion King and
Mhm.
just certain things, and the the
earlier than
mix.
that, Donald
Yeah.
Duck.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Certain things. So
So, yeah.
it's
So
it's
it's
like he
it's
said.
it's
It's
crazy.
almost like he's pointing it out there, and mind you, this dude, the I smell your foot, and this dude had every. There was a scene, at least one scene, when every kid on that show did something with their feet or showed their feet. He obviously had a foot fetish, right?
Now,
Obviously.
now here's
All
the
all
thing.
of all of the
Now,
girls showing their feet, doing something with their foot, like Ariana Grande would put a foot in her mouth, like the other girl.
well, here's my thing. Could it be that the stuff that he was saying at the end of the shows is stuff that some of these kids were saying to him behind the scenes, and he was just like y'all
Nah.
said, taunting, like like
Nah, I mean,
No,
I don't
no,
know.
they
Nah,
were from the show.
they were
They were
from the
actually
show.
from the
These were
show.
clips from the show.
Yeah.
That's
no,
from
no,
the
no, no,
script.
no, no. I know that. I know they were actual clips from the show, but what I'm saying is he took those actual clips from the show specifically and said those things at the end of the show. Could those be things that were said to him in private? It hurts. It's too
Mhm.
big.
Oh, okay, that's what you say. So
Mm,
I mean, I don't know. It's
So is that
that
possible.
another
Either
like
that
is
or
that
it could be something that was fantasized. Anything. It could mean a lot of things. You know what I mean?
that's deep.
Yeah, that is deep. When you think about it that way, it's very. I mean, and that is
because
just that's
I would look at it
horrifying.
when y'all
That's
said, and
horrifying.
the only reason why I said what I said is because y'all said that he was taunting. So to me,
I said it's
what,
almost like he is because
Yeah.
but that would
he
make,
has to
but
know that people are gonna pick that off.
but see,
Yeah.
that's the thing. I think he thought the kids would just laugh it off like most of us boys would do. That cat like
Right.
Beavis and Butthead, like oh
Right.
go and not even think twice about it. But meanwhile, I'm saying in my head like, is this dude reenacting the sounds that some of these kids was
Ooh,
making with him?
that's horrifying. If that is,
Yeah,
if that's where it
that would be
came from,
crazy. That'd be crazy. Well,
that's
I mean,
horrific.
well, it is very clear that Jeanette McCurdy did not like the dude.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she was in the book. She kind of outed Ariana Grande. Um,
What?
and yeah, she kind of outed her for if you read between the lines with that book, what she was saying in there, it's kind of like she was a little of what I took from her parts with Ariana Grande is
Uh-huh.
that Ariana Grande knew that what was going on wasn't right, but she wanted to be a star so bad. She said that yeah, I remember in one interview before the book, she said there's girls on that network and that was on that show that knew that there was things going on that was not right, but they did not care. They chose not to say anything. She
Mm.
said that she got pissed off at Ariana Grande because she was on she was on iCarly. She was promised her own spinoff.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, she got a spinoff with Ariana or Sam and
Mm-hmm.
Cat. And she said basically, um, she would she was able to come in when she wants. She's basically trying to say she was playing the game, so she got extra privilege. She was able to come in when she want. She would miss auditions, and they would have her do.
Or
She was
practice, or
able,
like
yeah, practice.
probably like
She was
practicing.
able
Now,
to get extra opportunities that I wasn't allowed.
Yeah.
question, question. Wasn't how active was Ariana Grande's dad in her career?
Um.
Um,
Was he active in her career? Because because when she
her
was
parents got divorced when she was around. Let's see, when did her parents get divorced?
Yeah. Well,
When?
they were divorced, so
Yeah, yeah.
so when she was dating, who was that rapper she was dating? Was she doing these shows around the same time that she was dating that rapper? Or
no,
that's
no. This is
No,
all
no,
before
no.
before she even
Yeah,
became this pop star. Yeah.
yeah,
oh
this
okay.
before. This is when she was right on the cusp of getting her first deal or what have you.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was all when she was around 16, 17 years old.
So she's
Yeah,
like, oh, the door is right here. The door
right.
is
So what's her
open.
name was saying what McCready was saying was she got opportunities, she was allowed opportunities, that I wasn't allowed. And then she said, mainly she tried to make it seem as though because she played the game or whatever, and they said she would come. She said in the time that finally pushed me over the edge is when
Mm-hmm.
she came in and said, "Oh, sorry, I'm late." But I was now, mind you, at this time we don't know how old this man was. Sorry, I'm late. I was up all night playing charades with Tom Hanks, and
What?
that's what Ariana Grande said to Jeanette McCurdy. Oh, sorry, I'm late. I was up all night playing charades with Tom Hanks.
Hmm.
Physically in the
And she
same
said,
room.
yeah,
Yeah.
and she
She was
said,
at her
yeah,
house, at his
she was
house.
at his house.
Mm-hmm.
She was at his house. And Tom Hanks' kids are grown. So she wasn't there with his children. So and then McCready said that was it. That's when I knew I couldn't like her. I didn't like her and I would never like her. Because
Mm-hmm.
you know,
I am fucking floored right now.
yep, she was playing
Forrest Gump?
charades with Tom Hanks.
Forrest
Yeah, that's
Gump?
why she was late. Yeah.
Forrest Gump was banging
Well,
Ariana Grande as a teenager.
Don't say that.
I didn't
We
say
did
that,
not
Kim.
say that. We did
I
not
didn't
say
say
that.
that, Kim. I said you're playing charade.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm
No,
sorry
we
for
did
being
not say
black
that.
and adding. This is what we do.
No, we did not say that.
I'm up all night. Listen, you up
The
all night
views
playing
expressed
Scrabble with a
by
grown ass man.
Kevin Hughes
Views
is
expressed by
not
Kevin Hughley is
necessarily the
not
views
necessarily the
expressed
views
from
of the
Real
IE
Talk
Network or the views of Real
or
Talk.
the IE
Jesus
Network.
Christ.
You're not gonna get us shut down over here. So, no, she said
I'm
charades.
just gonna
That's what
mute
she
my
was
mic.
playing.
I'm sorry.
She said
She
she was
said
playing
charades.
charades.
Kev. We off the air. You want to discuss that and turn that into something else? Well, we'll do that.
But she
But she
said
said
charades,
charades,
so
Kev.
that's what
She
we're
said
gonna say.
charades.
But
Okay, she said charades. Okay.
regardless of the fact, with that,
Is it a
um,
fetus or
it's
is it
it.
a
You're
banana?
right.
I mean, what?
I know, right? What is it? Log. So that charades. Log.
Oh
Banana.
man. But her
charades.
book is getting a lot of traction,
Yeah.
and she basically said that when the show ended, she basically put in the book. She said the show ended because of a producer, and I'm sure she's talking about Schneider. But she
Right.
just like one time she said she called the guy the creator. She said he made her take pictures in a bikini. Um, she was like had nothing to do with she made me take pictures in a bikini. She also said the show ended because they said so. The show ended because what they said were you were jealous of Ariana Grande, that of what she was able to. She went on to be a big pop star, and you were jealous of the other things that she was doing, and that caused tension, and you're no longer to go on filming the show. She said it was that's absolute BS. She said the show ended because of a producer got a sexual harassment charge against him. She said
Yep.
one of the producers of the show, and he was the producer. And remember, they just said they part in the middle of Victorious, which was at the time that one of the highest rated shows on TV, and it was Nickelodeon's highest rated show. He did one season of it. He got fired before season 2. I mean, they never had a finale. They had 3 seasons, maybe
Yeah.
3 or 4 seasons,
Maybe.
but they never had a finale. And
You
then they
mean
said,
this Negro couldn't keep his impulses to himself that bad? He was
nope,
running amok that bad
Yeah.
that
I
yeah,
he
mean,
they
the
couldn't.
bottom line is think about it this way, and this is, it's what makes it worse. There's a dude who works with children, basically, making shows for children, writing and all that stuff, producing shows for children, for kids. And what is it? He's around all the time. And what does he decide he wants to, I guess, whatever you said his impulses are? Well, children. It's like I said,
Um,
he was now they never, he wasn't even actually fired, like allegedly, like the way they said it. It
right,
was like a
they never
mutual
fired him.
parted
That's what
right.
I
ways.
don't
Yep,
understand.
they
It
never
was
fired him.
a
He
mutual,
mutually parted
yeah,
ways,
mutually
but
parted ways.
But
his
here's the
partner.
thing: don't these people have freaking kids at home? So you go home to your kids, and then
Yeah,
this is
Hmm.
what and then you come to work to do this. What are they
Yeah,
doing at home?
yeah.
yeah,
Question.
exactly. Yeah,
Oh my fucking god! I
yeah,
can't. I'm turning off everything. Fuck all my subscriptions. I'm
It's
canceling every goddamn thing.
it's nuts. And like if you
yeah.
just look up Daniel Snyder and some of the pictures
No,
Hmm.
that he's
no, I
taken
will
with.
not. I will not. I will not. I will not. Listen, if you want me to turn this to TMZ, I have to use a walker now to get around. I'll be in a walker with a big ass KMZ sign on the front of my walker and a microphone. Nigga, you couldn't keep
Yeah.
your stuff together. What was you doing to your kids at home? Like, I'm asking questions. Like, why aren't these questions being asked?
Yeah.
I am so confused right now.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And the producer, like I said, there's always been questions about
Look,
Disney and Nickelodeon.
here he is in the hot tub. Here he's sitting in a hot tub with Amanda Bynes.
Oh my God, that's
There
another
he
one.
is.
Jesus, I
Yeah,
can't. I gotta
and
go.
she
I
went,
can't.
and you know what happened with her? She's
Yeah.
another one. You know what happened with her?
And they tried to make it seem like she was crazy.
Right.
There he
That's what
goes.
they do.
Of course, that's what they do. There he is there hugging up on somebody. Who's that?
He's got a
That's one
picture
of the
with
other ones.
Ariana. He got a picture with Ariana Grande's legs wrapped around his waist. That's like, and these
Yeah.
people are seeing
Look at
this.
this. Look
But
at where his hand is. Right there. He's smelling her hair here. With this
that's
one, got
Victoria
his hand
Justice.
on. That's
Click that one
Victoria
in. I think that's
Justice.
Ariana. I think that's Ariana right there with his
Which
hand
one?
there. What that got the
This
circle.
here?
Click on it and see what picture that
No, I'm
who it
clicking on it. It's
actually
the
is.
same. It's not Ariana. It's somebody else.
Okay.
Yeah, it's somebody else. But
I don't.
yeah,
Yo, I give you. I am now because I do. I told your
you
brother
go
earlier
again.
today. I was in the hospital last week, so I missed most of your updates last week
Right.
because I was trying to get my health care back together.
Yeah,
But I've been
absolutely.
following. I've been following you as of late, and
Much
now
appreciated.
Yeah,
and
look how he's
I
leaning
have
in. Look how he's leaning in on Ariana's hair. Go ahead, Kev.
I have after this show, I have a whole listen. I don't know how you do it because I'm telling you,
Me neither,
somebody
brother.
I would be dead. I would be dead. I would be dead because
Yeah.
there is no way that I would be sitting on this like like right now. I'm like, who can I talk to?
It's,
Look,
it's
he's
crazy.
he's just a creep. You know,
He's a
he
creep.
does creepy things. Look how he's leaning in on it. Obviously, he likes to smell hair. Look, he's leaning
He
in
loves
on.
Big
feet.
fat
You know,
crusty motherfucker. That's him.
That's
yep.
him.
That's it.
He loves feet. I wonder
Loves
who had it
feet.
worse, that
Got a foot
Nickelodeon or
fetish.
Disney. Well, you always have to remember with Disney, all you need to know is Walt
There we
Disney
go.
was a
He was
Look,
abused
pedophile.
as a child.
So
look at this.
that's all you need to know, though.
He's
I know
from
I know he
Victorious.
was abused as a child, but that's probably the reason why he got a lot of passes. And with the kids that were on Disney, because Brittany was a Disney kid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because she's a Disney kid.
Mickey
Amanda
Mouse
Bynes was
Club.
what? Nickelodeon.
Yeah. Amanda was
She's
Amanda Bynes
Nickelodeon. Yeah.
Nickelodeon. Lindsay Lohan was what? Nickelodeon. I
Yeah.
think
She's
so.
Disney, I think.
Well,
I
she was
thought she was
Was
Disney.
he
Disney.
Disney?
I think she was Disney. Well, you said about the feet. There's from the
See?
show. There's something always going on with their feet. He's putting ketchup on her feet there.
All right,
Then you
listen.
got this here.
I
Feet.
Look,
listen.
Everything
look.
got something to do with feet.
Oh
You
my
know what I'm
God.
saying?
Yep, and that was
My
every
friend,
episode.
Every
iCarly,
episode they did something.
Victorious. There's always somebody. Look at it. So they're driving with their feet. They're eating with
Look,
their feet.
yeah.
listen. You know what? I'm done.
Look,
From now
she's
on,
actually
ain't nothing
biting
being
somebody's
played in
foot
this
there.
house.
This is a show on Nickelodeon. This girl's biting feet there.
Listen, ain't
They
nothing
always
getting
doing
played in
something
this
with their feet.
house
Look,
but
now
bubble
here she is in
guppies.
a bubble bath. No reason to be showing her feet. Not
Her
one
toe.
reason to
That
show.
was the episode.
She's in.
Her toe got caught in the sink.
Right.
A big toe gets caught. Something always got to do with feet.
Yeah.
Always.
I'm telling you now, my grandkids ain't watching nothing but bubble guppies until they 25.
And you see the picture down there with next to the one that has the red circle right there
Yeah.
below it with the blonde. That was the clip I was telling you about. That's Jeanette
This.
McCready. Yeah, that. See if that clip
That's
plays.
her.
That's Jeanette McCready.
It's not playing. But what is this? This is
What's the
something
deal with
she.
that?
She's just showing a bunch of things, and she's like, Daniel Schneider, Daniel Schneider, Daniel Schneider, Daniel Schneider. Look what you did to me.
Oh wow,
Wow.
that's
I I
crazy.
I can't.
And
I
she's
still
got like,
can't
it looks
believe
like she's got blood all over her mouth.
Yeah, wow. And what is that all about? Yeah, you see they doing that too. What is that? A smeared lipstick type of deal? What is that
Right,
supposed to mean? Another.
right.
He has all of these different
All these different
codes. And
symbolism.
these are
Yep.
all these little things that meant
that.
something.
But
Hmm.
no,
What's
that's
going
you
on?
don't. You're
So
not getting it. The smeared mixed lipstick. That's the other freaky thing they like to
yeah,
do. They like to
yeah.
Yeah.
grab them by the mouth with the thumb and then
Smear the
squeeze the
lipstick. Yeah,
lipstick.
Smear
that's
the
true.
lipstick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There
Yep.
it is again. Smear lipstick. Wow.
How many
This
times we
guy's
saw
living
that?
out his fantasies through a
On these
kids show
kids.
that he produced and
And
helped
here's the
write.
funny thing: the
Uh,
only reason why I know that, and I can't think of what movie it was in, and I don't think it was a Sharon Stone movie, and I don't think it was. I don't think it was the one with Michael Douglas and what's her face. Um, but one of them, they did that. They grabbed the girl by her face
hmm
and
Hmm.
smeared the lipstick across her face. Oh, you know what it was? It was. I think it was Miss 40. It might even been the scene in Miss 45. That
hmm
old flick.
Look, there you
Hmm.
go in there every time. He always getting there close with the kids.
I
just
I can
it's
I
just
am. Yeah,
and there
yeah.
he is holding his Nickelodeon award, you know,
Yep.
all the Teen Choice
All them
Awards and
awards.
that he was got. I mean, because the bottom line is, yeah, he produced good shows. He produced hit
Right.
shows.
He
But the
produced
bottom
it
line
too.
is all of
And
the stuff that it's
Ariana
all
loves him.
right. All of the
He
stuff that
loves
it's
Daniel Snyder.
right. All of the stuff that it's centered around. Look at this. What the hell is this? Where he got his hand there. Yeah, who this
Listen,
girl look like
And
she's
the
sitting
guy
on
and
his
the
lap.
right and the guy that's next to him, that was his partner. He went and
Oh
did
Lord.
I don't know how many years for for uh, uh, statutory rape or something, and then he comes back
hmm
and Nickelodeon hired him, and
Yeah,
he's working
he
with Dan
comes
Snyder.
home and
Jesus
Nickelodeon
Christ.
hires him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So, statutory rapists are getting rehired. Uh, well, I'm not gonna repeat what I
what is
said
they
earlier,
dating
but
daughter?
goddamn, y'all still messed me up about Forrest Gump playing charades.
So
Um, I am I am completely
See,
floored.
Ariana's the only one who's willingly hugging him all the time, as you
all the
see.
time, and
Yeah,
that's why
everyone else,
Ariana's the biggest star.
right? That's why
And
she's the
then the other
biggest star.
thing
Let's be honest.
y'all blew my mind with the Drew Barrymore and Jack Nicholson at the Knicks games. Because
Yeah,
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 at the Lakers
all the
game.
time. All the time.
all the
I remember, like
time.
I said, I'm a Laker fan. I used to didn't miss a Laker game at all, and I used to be like, oh, just never questioned it. Oh, I guess it's just two stars. She's hanging out with Jack Nicholson. But then as I got older and started reading the stories, and people were like, they were dating. I was like, wow.
I don't
Mm,
I just
yeah,
oh my God. I'm gonna
Like
right.
at that Nick Award and tell me what it looks like.
I want y'all to know
Oh man.
y'all are responsible for me eating a whole half of things of Rolaids because y'all got stomach my stomach is jacked up right now.
This
Like
dude is a straight creep.
I later for this
Somebody said, "Look at what that nickel wood looks like." It's stupid.
what does
What
it
a
look
hot
like?
dog.
The hot dog, whatever the hell it's supposed to be. I don't know what award that is. It says Dan Snyder Nickelodeon Parts Ways Controversy. Yeah, that's what
Oh,
they're talking
that's the
about.
blimp. That's their
That's the
blimp,
blimp.
Or
but
that
that
blimp,
Yeah,
right?
represents a
that's the blimp.
penis.
Yeah,
Yeah, and he's a
yeah,
blimp.
man.
That's probably what they meant.
He's a blimp. Yeah,
No,
and
it's not that he's
it's
a
got
blimp. It represents a penis. That's what the blimp means.
Maybe that's what they're
yeah.
talking about then.
That's what they talking about. Yeah,
Oh
because
my
he said
goodness.
hide in plain sight. And this guy, I mean, bro, he is living out. He was living out his fantasy through these children. Honestly, let's be honest. Call it what it is. That's what they were at the
I
time.
want the parents front and center. That's what I want.
And
You,
that's the issue. The
that
parents
is
are
the
sitting
issue.
back counting their checks. So
Mhm.
this is how Shirley Temple said it. This is how they do. They go to the parents and um
They can't be.
they
There's
go to the
nobody in.
parents and they
Mm,
Mhm.
say, I told you, I guess I told my brother I took my daughter to a to like a
Oh yeah, yeah,
church.
yeah.
what?
Like so I took my daughter to like this when she was younger. She's like 4, 5. So
Right.
they were like
It's about
and
5,
over
yeah.
yeah like 5. And it was like over in the hotel in Orlando. They were looking for they were trying to develop um
Kids.
place
They do
yeah,
the search for like
kindergarten
kids to be put on
young
to
kids
be
this that
put
and
on
other,
stuff.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm like models young for for commercials this that stuff,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
So
Nickelodeon.
yeah,
Nickelodeon is
I'm
one of
like
their
I'm gonna take my
clients.
yeah I'm gonna take my yeah. And they put up all the clients they've had. So, Pampers, this, that, and the third, Toys R Us, blah blah blah, Nickelodeon, of course. So I said I'm gonna take my daughter down there, whatever. So I take my daughter down, and then like back at this age, she was a little shy, like in front of people. But they were like, oh, they loved her look. So they were like, "Oh man, I love her looks." So then they took her there. They spoke to her. Hey, how are you, patient? Blah blah blah. So then they were like, "So we're gonna take some photos now." Now the initial photos, they let you sit there and everything, right? They got to draw you in.
All
They
right.
sit there, just stand there. So they taking the pictures of her, right? So they're like, "Oh, if you want to sit next to her, if you want to hold her on a couple of pictures, just to get her used to the camera." So they take their pictures. So they're like, okay, so we're gonna be calling back, the people who we're interested in, going to the waiting room, right? And then it's once we finish with everybody, we're gonna be doing callbacks, right? So I go sit in the waiting room. I'm thinking I'm scheduled to sit there. I'm like, I got at least 2 hours. I'm thinking 20 minutes. What's this sounds like a ploy anyway. You told me it's going to be about 2 hours, 20 minutes. They probably say this line to everybody. Oh yeah, you want to come into the room and talk or whatever, right? I know we're gonna want to wait, but we think your daughter has a lot of potential, right? So I'm like, oh great, Mary John. We think your daughter has a lot of potential. We like her look, just and the third, right? So now we're gonna be doing second second shots. This one we want to be a little more independent. We want to be a little more independent, right? So then she goes, Anna here is going to take patients to the second floor. I said, whoa, 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 whoa. Anna? Where did she come from? This
Mhm.
is the first time I heard the name Anna all day. She
Mhm.
pops out of nowhere and she's like holding her hand out like to take my daughter to the second floor of the hotel. I was like, oh no, nah.
Mhm.
You're
No.
not taking
Not
my daughter
without me.
anywhere. Right?
Right.
That was all that it's all of the parents are went no. I said nah.
Mm.
All of the parents are what? I said there ain't no way. I just met you. I said my daughter. You're gonna I'm supposed to allow my daughter. It's right there. Then they try to. Mr. Clark, it's right there on the street. We're on the first. It's right there on the second. It's right above us on the second floor. Room 2. Nah. You take my daughter's hand, I'll never see my child again. Nope. And then
Mhm.
they'll be acting like, oh, what are you talking about? Oh,
What are you talking
someone
about?
took my daughter.
We brought it back to you.
Yeah, we brought it
We
back
brought
to
it
you.
back
We
down
don't know
here.
what he's talking about. Nah, man. I said, nah,
Mm-mm.
give me my kid, man. Nah, kid, I'm out of
Yeah.
here. My kid. They talk about some Anna here is gonna take her to the second floor and get her
Well,
fixed up.
Anna
Get her
here is
fixed
not.
up. I was like, okay, what room? I said, because I'm gonna go at what room? Oh no, the parents are all the parents of the call. I was like, first of all, how'd y'all make
Not
that
this
decision so
parent.
quick? Y'all said it was gonna be like 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we just think she has a lot of potential. We didn't need the entire 2 hours. She's definitely one of the best ones. Nah, I'm all right.
Okay,
Well,
she could be
Thank you
she
for your
could be
time.
she could be one of the best ones with me in the room with her. So
yeah,
what's
Right.
good?
exactly, exactly,
Ashanti,
absolutely,
absolutely not. The pool, when
absolutely
Ashanti
not.
said, when they, and it's funny, the real Ashanti just said absolutely not in the room, and then Ashanti the singer said that absolutely not.
Yeah, exactly. No, 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 that ain't happening. Like, what's going on in the second floor?
floor,
What's that
right?
all
What's
about?
going up there? You'll take them up there, and they're going to be somebody else waiting to take them all and sack them away in some van
Oh,
or somewhere.
Kelly.
Nah, yeah.
Right.
Human
Yeah, I
trafficking
mean,
at its
it's
best, at
yeah,
its finest.
yeah, nah,
Take them right
nah,
out of your hotel where you still sitting there like, well, what's taking them so long?
it's been a
Yeah,
while. Yeah,
and
how
you
long
sit
has it
down
been?
twiddling your thumbs. You don't know what
Right.
room they
And then
in.
they come
You
back
know,
with a
Right.
cocky. They come back with a cockamamie story about, oh, we took her
We
down to
sent her
so and
down.
so. We
We
sent her
sent her
back
down.
down here.
Yeah,
We haven't seen her. We sent her
we
back
sent her
down.
back down
Yeah,
with
okay.
Anna. And Anna ain't
And
nowhere to be
that's where
found.
at that point, see,
that's when the whole
not
hotel's
only is
going
my
down.
daughter missing, but now I'm sitting in jail for killing somebody. So
Right.
you know,
Crazy. Right.
that's
The,
yeah,
Sexy said hush money seems to win sometimes. Yeah, because
yeah.
um they she told the
Hush
story.
money wins
Shirley
more
Temple
than it
again.
should,
A lot of
more
times.
than it should.
Shirley Temple told the story. She said somebody asked them, they said, how? Because you gotta remember all of these child stars, their parents signed the contract. They can't sign the
Yeah,
contract.
exactly.
So they're not old enough to sign the contract. So their parents are the ones signing them off, sending them to Hollywood. So Shirley Temple said, well, picture this. You have a family, you got 8, 9 kids in the family, 5 or 6 of them are sharing a room. Your dad works a job, or your mother works 2 jobs, and
Yeah,
they come to you and say, we have a lot of faith in your daughter, but we got to bring her to Hollywood. That's where the studios are to get it started.
mhm.
We're gonna give you we're gonna send you here a check for $200,000 so you can tie up all your loose ends, and then meet us in Hollywood in a month.
Fuck
She
out of
said,
here, me
and
too in
she
Hollywood.
said,
Nigga, I
yep,
can handle my affairs from
and she,
there. We all getting
and,
on the plane together.
and
What you
she
talking
said,
about?
and they got the check in their hand. She said, what do you think a struggling family most of the time is going to do?
You want me to tell you what happened in the Hewley Davis family? We would have all been on the motherfucking plane. Excuse my language. Because my mama and my Marine dad
I,
would have been like, "Thank you for the
yeah.
check." Uh,
Thanks for the check.
yeah,
Yeah, I'd have
yeah.
took that
I can't
two
handle
hundred
my
thousand.
affair from out there.
That's true though. If you just gave me two hundred thousand
When
dollars, I can handle my
you gave
affairs from over
in 1978, you
there.
gave Ann and Edward Davis $200,000. Guess what? What affairs? Our affairs are all in Los Angeles. Let's go.
Right?
Yeah,
Because
that's
whatever house I'm
crazy.
renting here, I'm about to leave it as is.
Yeah, yeah, as is. I'm walking out the door. But see, that's the
Listen,
problem. But like you said, unfortunately, a lot of these struggling families, they take the money. That's a lot of money for
Honey,
them. And
we're going to give you Anna here is going to be responsible. We're going to give you Anna's number. We're going to give you the hotel she'll be staying at. We're going to rent a house. We'll give you the house. And then the parents sitting there, honey, they're giving us all the numbers.
yeah,
They could, and then they sit there and convince each other what could happen. We got all the
when
phone
does your
numbers.
conscience wake up to be like, nigga, what you doing?
yeah. Well,
Stop.
that's what they think. They're always thinking about what it is. I mean, it's just like
The money.
it's the money. It's a whole it's a whole different
Listen,
scenario. But I'm
let me
just
tell
saying
you
when you
something.
think about the movie Indecent Proposal, where he offered the $1 million to sleep with the wife, and he immediately turns it down, and then they're laying in bed basically talking about it, trying to convince each other, if she should do it or not. Yeah,
Right.
it's the same thing.
The
When you're
one,
faced with a
one
lot of
they waiting
money,
for the other one to tell them, hell
yeah,
no. You know,
right.
Yeah.
not gonna do it. He's waiting for her to say, I don't want to do that. I don't. The money ain't worth it. She's waiting for him to say, hell no, I'm not giving up my wife for no amount of money.
But
And
but
Right.
neither
but
one of them are saying it. They're both
Neither one
thinking about what we could do with $1 million. All our
with $1
problems
million.
would be over.
listen,
Yeah,
$1 million, I can forget about. I can forget about you. You no, I can't. Sorry, because guess what? You gonna wake up one morning and I'm gonna have all of it, and you gonna have the memory of you went out there and did what you did, and thank you for the paper.
well,
Talk to you later.
that's what I'm saying. And that, but that's the thing. When you're faced with money and you have money issues, these
That's
people
what it
make
is.
But
real
when
bad
does your
decisions,
but
man.
Wes again? When does your morality kick in? I do not care. And maybe
Mhm.
I'm just speaking from my perspective, and it's wrong for me to just speak from my perspective, but I have been jammed up in my life financially,
Hmm.
Oh,
jammed up.
everyone has, but
Yeah.
it's all about
And
morals and how you
listen, and
how you handle it.
I have been offered like, yo, all you gotta do, this quick Greyhound.
Hmm. Yeah,
Hmm.
And you know what I
Me
thought
too.
about? Well, you know what I thought about? What's waiting for me when I get to Virginia?
Right.
Am I
right.
coming back home to see my kid?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's it's
When does
it's
your
it's all
morality
about
at
yeah,
some
it's all
point your
about the
morality has
morale,
to kick
the
in.
morality.
Hmm.
It's all about that, and but that's the thing. Obviously, these people didn't have none of that stuff, so we can't use ourselves as examples. We already know what the answer is to that. But
Right.
as you
'Cause-
could see,
No,
especially with these
but no, but
Hollywood
see, that's easy.
situations,
That's easy. That makes it easy for me to understand that they are pieces of of crap. They're
Right.
yeah,
turds.
I mean,
yeah,
you look at another situation, but same thing. Look at Tina Turner's mother. She knows Ike was beating the shit out of Tina.
yeah,
Right? That's your daughter.
yeah,
Oh, just go on back to him. Cause she's sitting up.
yeah.
Right? And
Sitting
if
up,
she
yeah.
and if she leave Ike, all that stuff she got go out the window. Oh, just go on
You
back to him.
messing it up for all
He
of
loves
us.
him.
Yeah.
Well, guess
He
what?
loves you. Just go back. Y'all go back and work that out.
Mm, let me tell you
Yeah.
something. If that would have been my household, because I seen it happen, my mother said I'll burn it down with everybody in it.
Yeah.
Touch me
It's sad.
if you want to.
It's sad that this is Ashanti says, sad that some parents think their child is something worth selling. It is sad. Like I said, they see that money
They see
and
that money,
they can't control themselves.
and
It's
and,
just
and I'm
like
gonna tell you
it's and
something.
like Heaven Hollywood pointed out, they sit there and talk themselves into it. But we
Into it.
got all the numbers, we got all the contacts.
What could
We could
happen?
call it this. What could really happen? We're gonna be there in a month. They're gonna send the
Hmm.
money up
And
front. We
again,
send her. We'll be there in a month, and everything will be good. We'll be able to watch over her. Yeah,
and you
that's
know
it.
what? I'm going to take back what I said. I'm going to take back what I said for one reason and one reason only. Because some of these parents are pieces of turds, but some of them fall under the category of what I always talk about.
Love
That
it.
was an
Yep.
age of innocence.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You're not thinking like,
Not
why would
thinking.
why would this grown adult
Yeah.
abuse? Like the last thing you're thinking is my child is I'm sending my child off with a predator.
Right.
Yeah.
But that and that's what Shirley Temple said. And when you think about it, a lot of these kids, um, with these, when you look at kids like Gary, and when I start thinking about him, I get super emotional. When you start thinking like kids like Gary Coleman, right?
Right. Who just
And
got screwed over by his
and
parents.
by his, and so many, and it happens in Hollywood a lot. Like these kids are funding their entire family's lifestyle, and then they
Britney
turn
Spears.
18 and they got nothing.
Yeah.
You know,
Britney Spears is just getting her money.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and 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 she don't even have what she should have.
Well, she
Gary
should have been.
Coleman was making back in the late 70s or early 80s when he was 9, 10 years old. He was making $60,000 an episode,
Hmm.
right? When he was a 10-year-old kid. He was making 60,000. First he started out making 50, then it went to 60. He had about 5 or 6 seasons of different strokes. When he turned 18, he went to his account and he had nothing,
Nothing.
nothing out of all that money this dude made. And for
60 grand an episode,
60
and he
grand an
started different
episode,
strokes
and
when
you're
he was
talking like
what? He
five
was
or
a,
6 years. He was like 12, 13 years old. So
yeah, he was a,
when they went to like
That by
17, when his voice started changing, and they had to end the show because he was no longer that cute little kid. You
right.
know,
and times that by what? 12 episodes? 10,
right,
10
right,
episodes?
10,
At
12
least.
episodes. And even back then, it may have even the seasons were longer than 10 episodes.
Yeah.
Back then, season,
Yeah.
you
Oh, they
know,
were a lot.
this guy was, I'm gonna get upset. This guy was working as a security guard.
Yeah.
People laughing at him.
Yeah.
Let me tell you
Just
something.
ridiculous.
If you don't,
Ridiculous.
if you're within the sound of our voice right now, and you're not when this show is over, if you're not walking out to go and have it out, excuse me for saying what I'm about to say, but you- if you don't have a better appreciation for your kids,
Hmm.
fuck you.
No, it's true. And it's like, how can you even bring yourself to do that to your child? And the person is out there making the money for you, like you just said, basically supporting the entire family.
You get 10% of that. Why
Yeah.
can't you live off of that? You
And
get
I'm sure they
10%
got I'm
as
sure
a
they got
parent
more than
manager.
that.
You get
He probably
10%.
was very generous. I'm sure they got more than that. You know what I'm saying? So this is what I'm talking about, man. These parents,
I'm
They
sorry,
play a
they're the
big part
worst.
in it.
I can't.
They
They're
I
the
play a
can't.
big
worst.
part in it. So
I
no
can't.
wonder their kids are off in Hollywood getting abused. All they care about is they're sending them money. They want to live. They want to live vicariously. And most of the time, don't let the parent be a failed person of what their child is doing.
Hmm.
Like
Yep.
Joe
Then they
Jackson
gotta
was a failed
vicariously live
musician,
through them.
so now he's
Right.
gonna live vicariously through the Jackson Five.
Yeah.
Shirley Temple's mom was a failed actress, so she's gonna
Yeah.
live vicariously through Shirley Temple.
Yeah.
So
I,
if
I
that makes
can't.
it even worse.
And you know,
181 episodes, different strokes had.
181
181
episodes,
episodes,
I
and
different
he
can't.
was
strokes
working
had.
as a security guard by the time he was 30
Do
years
you
old.
know what that's like? Do you know what that's like? And the only reason
That's
why this is fucking with me right now is because I know somebody right now, and I'm not gonna put their business out on Front Street, but god damn it, their parents used their social security number when they were kids. And
yeah.
right now, as an adult, as a college fucking graduate, this nigga can't do shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can't do
It,
nothing.
it amounts to the same thing. Y'all out here putting light bills in your kid's name. You out here putting
Mhm.
credit. If you ain't putting credit cards in your kid's name to help build their credit up before they leave to go to college, you don't need to be putting no damn credit cards in no kid's name.
Right.
Nope. Yeah.
You don't need to be
Yeah.
sending your kids off talking about, oh, they going to record a demo. They
Yeah.
gave me $500.
Yeah. Money
I
is
gotta
given
go.
out through the court
I can't.
itemized list. Yeah, I mean it is so many. I can't even say the number that he earned at $60,000 at 181 episodes. 60,000 an episode. It's somewhere in like 108. So it's in the millions, obviously.
Yep.
millions of dollars.
I'm sorry, but how are you? How is it?
10
This
million
shit got
something,
me
man.
fucked up right now.
Yeah, it's over a
How
hundred
do
million
I,
dollars worth.
I don't
Every time
understand
I
how
talk about Gary
anybody.
Coleman, I can't even finish the conversation.
It's just it's crazy because this is a gentleman that we grew up watching the shows, and and just when you think about
He's part of your childhood.
the yeah we right he grew it's part of your childhood, and you think about that, and of course why it affects you. It only affects you because you can't fathom being treated like that, and you can't fathom treating your child like that to the point where, but money is a damn thing, man, and people obviously lose their minds. There's a lot of things lost over money. Minds,
Right.
lives, relationships,
Yep.
all types of things are lost over money. You know what I mean? So yeah, messing up your kids exactly. So it's still a money thing. It's still it says some because parents are the biggest bullies in your life. That's very profound what you just
Listen,
said.
Yep.
listen,
That is
listen,
that is
listen,
yeah.
listen.
That's
A
what they
number
said.
one biggest
Yeah.
bullies in your life.
They
But
said
but
parents are the
but
biggest
see,
bullies
there's
in
a
your life.
difference. Are they bullying to nurture, or are
Hmm.
they bullying you to beat you so that you don't have a better life than they have?
Right.
Right.
No, depends. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And
Me, because
I
I'm a
get
bully, like he said it first. I'm a bully. I bully my daughter, like I admit, but I bully my daughter for the good. For the
mhm,
to keep to keep her keep things away, keep her out of any sort of issues, to keep her away from this crazy world that she's living in. So
mhm.
I always come in, and it's just to a
And
point where
prepare her for the
her
world.
mother's like, why is she uh scared of you, but she don't scared. Like I come in, and then she's like, because I'll say, what are you doing? Like if she's over in the corner, she may not even be doing nothing. But if she's over in the corner and she's on her tablet and she's too quiet for a certain amount of time, I'm coming in like, what are you doing? Let me see your tablet.
Yeah.
And then she
Right.
But
starts
you
I
know
getting
what?
understand.
upset because
But you know what?
she's
But you
like,
know what that? But you know what that presents? That presents an echo because when she
Yeah.
turns 25, 26, and she's
Hmm.
about to do something stupid,
Yeah.
immediately your voice is gonna be like, "What are you doing?"
right,
Right. Exactly. That's gonna be in her mind. And yeah, and like you said, it's something that's going to stick with them when they get older. And when you say like afraid, it's not even afraid. It's a certain there's two different types of fear, right? You can fear a person because you're just terrified of them because of what they do to
There's
you, but you're
reverential.
not right. And the rest of it is more like
respect,
repercussions,
feeling for
the
respect.
respect. So it's like I'm afraid of what the repercussions are. You know what I'm
It's
saying? If I do this, I know my father, whoever is disciplining you, this could happen. It's not per se, I'm afraid of my father. I mean, some are because the father may just beat them mercilessly, but it goes differently. But that's a whole nother show topic. But
Right.
the bottom line is to kind of wrap it all up. You know, going back to where we started with Miss McCurdy. It's very unfortunate that she has to name her book the way she had to name it.
Right.
That says a mouthful right there. And how can you not? People who reading it because it's like, yo, that's a bold title. Yeah, it's
Hmm.
more than a bold title. It's her truth. And
And I
exactly
give her
what
a
it is.
lot of credit. I give her a lot of
yeah,
credit for
yeah,
not, it's so easy for people to say, I ain't messing with this no more when they're okay. But then she
mm-hmm,
got to a point where she didn't have, her money had dwindled down. She was
mm-hmm,
pretty much living on the street almost, and
mm-hmm.
she still never wavered. Now
Yep,
will
she
that
didn't go back to
continue?
it.
Well, not now that she done got the book out, and
Mm-hmm.
and from what I'm hearing, it's gonna probably be, it's sold out like
It's gonna be a
Quit.
bestseller.
Yeah, it's going to be a
It's gonna be a
bestseller.
bestseller.
So
But
this
but
might
it's called
maybe
karma. It's called karma. Her karma
Yeah,
is coming back to her
right.
yeah.
because,
On a
like I
good, on the
said,
good
like I
side.
said like I said on the beginning when we started talking about this, who is a publisher to tell me my truth?
Right.
Yeah.
You can't. You're not gonna tell me. Listen,
Don't
yes,
name this.
mother.
Yeah.
Oh, because America has made the term mother into this thing of nurturer, bearer
Hmm.
of life.
Please.
Listen,
Yeah,
listen.
they are to a degree, but sometimes they're just a the ride. They're just the ride to
Right.
humanity.
They
Right.
want to be they want to be their daughter. Like they want to
Yeah.
a lot of them now. You see, I'm like, are they the mother or the kid?
Yeah.
They out there. I see it on Instagram. Like I'll see
Seeing in real life, I've dealt
yeah,
with people like
yeah,
that. I've
they
dealt with
go out there
artists,
like
dealt with
the
actors,
mother.
where
The
their
mother
mother
wants
is,
to be the daughter. Like now that the daughter is come of age, you want to try to go back in and be in the mix.
yeah.
You know what I
It's the
mean?
same
So
thing with men with their sons, and they want
yeah,
these men want to get in and start hitting some of these young
young
women or some of
that the
these young
son's hitting.
people that the son is hitting. And
Yep.
you get taking these sons up just like monkey suit Dennis.
Let me tell you
Monkey
something.
suit Dennis,
What
you
what the
parade
what,
him.
let me tell you
Drake's
something.
father.
I don't.
Monkey
This is the
suit
one thing I
Dennis, you
don't.
parade him.
This is the one thing I don't understand, and I will never understand it. And Wes, you and Ralph get on me about this all the time.
Hmm.
When I see Megan Good, I see my daughter.
Hmm.
I can't look at her in any other way.
Hmm.
There are a lot of
I'll look at it another way for you. But go ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
I,
I'll handle that for you.
listen, and more power to you. I'm not
Right.
knocking what nobody else does, but
Yeah.
in my mind, I have fixed that this girl, this young lady, this young woman was when my daughter was a baby when
Mm-hmm.
she was before. I think she was 14 when she was performing when she was in Mississippi Masala, whatever that name of that movie was that she was in with Samuel L. Jackson.
Hmm.
That was the first movie I ever saw her in. And from that point forward, it it messed me up across the board. Like I've been in cars with people and they be like, damn, look at the ass on that one. And I could
Right.
look at their whole body structure and be like, that's an 18-year-old. What the fuck are you
Mm-hmm.
doing?
Right.
Can't
Right.
even I can't even like
Yeah.
like
I kind of have that same thing with Paige Heard because I remember not only more so for Paige Heard for me because I actually interacted with Paige Heard. Like, we used to actually be friends in social media and we interacted. Matter of fact, Paige Heard actually, she said my son was attractive, right? Because they're about the same age,
mhm.
and well, no, she's a little older than him, but still the point is, yeah, Paige Heard's a grown woman now. She's probably almost 30. You know what I mean? So I kind of feel that way with her because when I interacted with her, she was still young. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, and I know my interaction with her was innocent. So it's like, I can't think about it. You know what I mean? And yeah,
And-
whatever. I mean, people can say it, but I don't knock people that look at Paige Heard now and say, "Oh, she's
but,
hot"
but,
or whatever the case may be. But
but
well,
you know
that's
what?
what she should say.
There's nothing wrong with acknowledging that. Hey, look, somebody looks great.
Yeah,
But when the perv vision turns on, it's like, what the? I don't. I don't. This is why I'm having such a hard like I'm really having a hard time processing this episode because now I I I I can't look at Forrest Gump the same. I'm not gonna say his name. I'm gonna say Forrest Gump.
Jesus Christ.
I will never
He
look at
just
Forrest
played
Gump the
charade.
same.
Yeah.
I don't understand what he did. Like just the fact, like, I could have dealt without that. Like right now on my timeline on my screen, I just finished watching the whole Angels and Demons thing. I love that. It's scrubbed now. I might
Angels
even
and
throw away
demons.
my Dan Brown books.
Right.
because I'm just like,
Dan Brown books.
We
Yeah.
didn't
I
mean to do
mean,
that. We didn't mean to do
we
that,
didn't do
Kev.
that. We didn't mean to ruin for God. I mean, it's just like I said, that was her. That was her excuse for being late. She was up all night playing charades at Tom Hanks' house.
willingly. She's telling you I was willingly in there doing whatever I was doing.
Right. Up all night playing charades at Tom Hanks'
You're
house.
playing charades,
Anyway,
Kev.
Okay, I'm sorry.
yeah,
We're
Let
gonna
me
yeah,
let
move
me
on.
let me
We're gonna
let
move
me
on
turn
from
off my
ponytail.
let me turn off
yeah,
my blackulator.
yeah.
Okay, she was playing charades.
Right. So she says. That's what she's playing.
That's what she's
So,
playing.
but to put a bow on it all, man, it's just people. This is a topic that could go on and on and on. We could
Yeah.
have 2, 3 shows about this.
Yep.
It's really, really a terrible thing that's been going on in Hollywood since the 1930s and probably before that. Like I said,
Right.
the person I can go back to right away is Shirley Temple. We had, this was like firsthand experience through our grandfather, So, I mean, it's been going on for decades, and when will it stop? We don't know. Like I said, Millie Bobby Brown is kind of like a soft, recent version of being sexualized, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
now it's like if we can't sexually assault them, we'll sexualize them. It's like,
Right. It was
yeah, maybe
sexualized. That's what
maybe never been
they,
Millie
they
Bobby
they
Brown's never been
know
sexually
that the people
assaulted,
are looking out for it, and
right?
a lot of things.
But see that
So they
that
try to find
messes it.
another way to do it.
But here's the thing. Now that messes it up for adult fans
Hmm.
who are into social media, who are
Hmm.
Yeah.
innocently following these people. But now
Hmm.
you look like, especially if you're a guy, you
Yeah.
look
Right.
like I'm a huge fan of Stranger Things and Godzilla
Right.
and
Yeah.
all the movies, the Godzilla movies she was in. I'm a huge fan of that.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
now I gotta scrap every
Hmm.
scene that she's in of anything that I might have on my timeline because I don't want to be that guy.
Right. Right. I feel you. I understand what you're saying. Um, you don't want to be looked upon as, oh, why is he you know
Why is a 50?
why is he a fan of a child?
Yeah. Why is a 50-year-old? And meanwhile, half the country is watching Stranger Things, but
Right.
Hmm.
they will fixate. They'll be like, well, why is a 51-year-old man even watching? Why is that even in your wheelhouse?
Right.
Because it's from my childhood period.
Right. Exactly. It's from our era. It's Yeah, but that's I mean, and the last thing I'll say about, because since we're talking about Millie Bobby Brown, like I said, a lot of people always talk about and right now she just turned like 18, and she just like 18, and like I said, what that one guy who had the things about it is the way she is, made up. She doesn't look 18, she looks way older, and that's
She's
that's
always
not
looked
a
older. She's always
right.
looked older than what she
That
was.
is not a by accident. That's by design. You know what I'm saying? Look at her here. You can look at her here. She don't look 18. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And she may have been 17 when she took this picture. So all these different ones. So that's what people was talking about. He's like how she dresses, how the makeup that she has on all the time, and it's been like that. It's just like, she don't she don't look 17. And there's pictures that's even more like when she was younger, that she had so much makeup on. You could tell like she should not have on all that makeup. Does that look like an 18-year-old to you? And I
Listen,
believe she was
it,
younger in this picture.
and the
You know
sad
what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
part
she was younger.
it's
Yeah.
grown folks out here with the same amount of makeup on that don't need it on either.
They're,
Hide.
they're the ones. They're the ones that's, and then these people who are the stylists that's making them up, and more so, like I said, with her, she hasn't. She's had her moments where some people were saying she was wearing something that shouldn't. She probably should have been wearing for her age. But a lot of times with her, it's been the way she's been made up,
Right.
and stuff like that. So that's I just wanted to touch on that again before we got out of here, because it's really crazy how,
You can't.
in the show, and this is how she looks in the show at her current age. That is, because they making her look, like her age in the show. This is how she looks in the show,
And
and this
and
is how
and
she looks not on the show.
and and
You
and,
know,
and what does that go to show you? The sad part is that they're stealing the innocence from these kids' lives.
yeah,
Like
they
these
are.
kids are not,
Yep.
you know,
Like, look at these pictures here. Here she is in as as 11. On the show Stranger Things. This might have been from last season. I don't know if this was this season or last season. And then here she is here. So that's what people had an
that
issue
looks like a
with
totally
her.
different person.
Look like a totally different person. Exactly. Looks like a totally different person, and that's
Okay, well, makeup is witchcraft. Y'all keep
oh well,
asking questions if you want to.
that's how they do it. But
Mhm.
that's like I said, man. This is it's a problem that's been going on for years, and it still goes on. And whenever someone is going to be that, I mean, that person, a young person that's appealing, may have a good personality. Millie Bobby Brown has a nice outgoing personality, stuff like that. Boy, they really, really, really milk that. They milk that, you know, and it's just I don't know. This hey, look at this picture here. It's still there. Hey, look at this picture here. The cover of Vogue. They got her in this whatever she's in, but she's appearing to have nothing under this here. Cover
Yeah.
of Vogue, Millie Bobby Brown. You
I'm
know,
telling you now,
this is what this is. This.
I'm ready to go out here and hug my grandbabies, man. I'm tired of them.
But there you have it, man. I mean, so coming up, in the next few weeks, we're gonna be, talking about. Well, we will talk about Michael Jackson stuff, because his birthday. I think our show. Yeah, we have a show on his birthday, August 29th. That's Michael Jackson's birthday. We'll touch on some
Nice.
Michael Jackson stuff. I really want to